Hi, welcome to our session at the Adobe Summit. We're here today to talk about 2 years of collaboration and how we help kickstart operations for Adobe Campaign Standard at Sunstar. So my name is Kelly, and I'm the Director of Digital Transformation, Strategy and Services at Sunstar.
My name is Aliénor, and I'm a lead consultant for dentsu Merkle, and I've been helping Sunstar for the past couple of years to implement Adobe Campaign Standard and running. So today in our session, we're going to see 3 different points. First, we're going to take a look at the context and see about Sunstar Europe's transformation journey. Then we're going to take a look at the business challenge that we were facing at the beginning. And finally, we're going to end with use cases of our markets to show you what you can do for newbies on ACS.
So let's start with a little bit of context about Sunstar and our history. Sunstar was founded in 1932 by Kunio Kaneda in Osaka, Japan. And the Sunstar business was founded with a small tube of bicycle repair glue. And Kunio was the first to bring this bicycle repair glue in a tube to Japan. And 12 years later, he took that same technology in packaging and manufacturing and distribution to dentifrice that was in a container and put that same dentifrice in a metal tube, creating the first toothpaste in Japan in a tube called Sunstar Dental Cream. And why Sunstar? He used those 2 words together to help people understand or remember when to brush your teeth, when the sun rises, and a second time at night when the stars come out. So let's talk about Sunstar's digital transformation. Sunstar today is an organization of 4,000 people worldwide. We're a highly global organization, which means we have a really lean headquarters and we decentralize all the operations to the region. So in 2016, European operations and the European general manager realized that while decentralization is great for regional growth and acquiring market share, the downside is that it's very difficult to orchestrate experiences across channels when you're so decentralized. So we started the transformation of the flagship brand gum in the oral care sector. And in 2017, we began the planning with dentsu on how we would go about reorganizing our marketing operations to really embrace digital and moving forward. And we came to the conclusion that in order to orchestrate these experiences across channels and very decentralized, we needed a tool and a suite of tools that would help our very traditional marketers transform. So in 2018, we implemented the Adobe Experience Manager and also the Marketing Cloud. In 2018, we also rolled out our first 2 websites that were digital-first, consumer-facing sites, and really speaking to our oral care professionals and our end users of the gum products. And in 2019, we completed that rollout with 25 additional websites in 13 languages. Come 2020, we were ready to accelerate our operations, and then COVID hit. So what did that mean for Sunstar? Well, like many businesses, it meant we had to rethink what we were doing. And the F word came to the top of the mind. It was freeze, flex, fix, or freak out. And we chose to flex and we chose to fix. So what did that mean? It really meant taking any operational imperfections that we had of the last 2 years of building and working those out so we could flex our MarTech muscle. We knew we had the stack, and we knew now is the time to put it to work. So what we did in operations, and going into 2020, we had a complete roadmap on how we were going to further empower our marketers by building out features. We realized that we needed to switch our blend of 70% operations and development and 30% enablement and flip the switch on that. What we really needed to do was focus 70% on how to bring our team up to speed using the tools that we had and really just keep lights on for the development. And this meant, in particular, in this case, one of our star and our heroes was Adobe Campaign Standard. And we knew that this was a tool that could help bridge that gap when our sales teams and our marketers couldn't physically go out, be at events to see people and talk to them. Sales teams couldn't go out to our oral care professionals to sell. Campaign Standard was going to be our solution. So this is really interesting, I think, for anyone who's working in transformation. I always like to know how things take place and how long it takes us to get going. So our story kind of started in mid-2018 when we started ramping up for Adobe Campaign. We worked with Dentsu, who was not only a partner, but they were really a full-time enabler. And we really looked at Aliénor as more of an extended team member. And I think that's how we should be with our partners. They were a full partner in market adoption. So what we did is we set up our brand spaces, and I think it was a pretty okay rollout time. And then we were excited. We're live. We have this solution ready to go across EMEA for Europe. We launched our first training for 7 markets, went really well, had great feedback, super training that Aliénor put together, and then nothing. I mean, nothing. Like our marketers were like, well, that was really great. Thanks. Good work. Good work, gang.
That happened like that.
So from November 2019 until beginning of COVID times, Adobe Campaign just wasn't being used. And so we really stepped back thinking, we know that we need to work on the enablement. What do we do now? So we retooled and revamped the training that Aliénor had put together to be really more of a hands-on enablement tool. We relaunched the series. We ran 2 series for 2 groups of marketers. We really broke it down. And we added in what we called coaching and open hours to allow the marketers to even revisit these recorded sessions, to practice on their own, and then to come back and have open time with Aliénor. And this led us to really being able to move the ball forward from, I'd say, April to the end of the year last year to reach some pretty outstanding results. So when it comes to what was the challenge we were facing, I think the first thing is access does not equal enablement. Just because we put a tool out there and we saw that ourselves, it doesn't mean that people are going to use it. So we really had to take a step back. Adobe Campaign Standard, I'd say there's a high learning curve. Our marketers across the region were traditional trade marketers with no digital experience. So that meant we really had to hold their hand and bring them up to speed of how to use Adobe Campaign.
Exactly.
So we really took that step back, focused on some very pragmatic toolkits for them, talked them through how to work with their workflows, their services, their templates. And the increase that we saw over the year was quite phenomenal. Today, well, at the end of 2020, we had about 60,000 contacts that were created. And this is for a group of marketers, 7 marketers across the region who had never used Adobe Campaign before. We started with less than 3,000 GDPR clean contacts. And today we're growing strong. So we want to talk about how we worked. And I want to hand over to Aliénor.
Thank you very much. Okay, so in this chapter, we're going to talk about our organization and how we reached those results in less than a year. We're also going to talk about what we put in place for markets in order to make sure that they adopt the tool and feel comfortable with it. Basically, we're talking about the EMEA region. So we're talking about 7 different markets with marketers that traditionally do not do digital and that are not necessarily empowered with marketing automation. We're talking on the other side about the central team here in Switzerland. And finally, we're talking about the partner agency, namely myself, who helps the markets and central to coordinate everything. What we put in place is a lot of different synergies. Strategy build is technically between markets and central team, even if I can give some input on what strategy markets are using. Markets, of course, report to the central team. No big deal. In terms of relationship between the agency and the markets, they send my way any troubleshooting requests that they have. So any bug, anything that they're struggling to do with the tool, they send my way and I help them in return to fix everything and make everything work. But the 2 most important things are coming. First, the training. We do ad hoc trainings. We often do trainings to just update them with the latest tool features or with the latest best practices that they should be using. So that's the second most important. The first one is collaboration between markets. And this is what really made the difference. We hold monthly share and care sessions. Those sessions are for markets to show, okay, what campaign did I do this month that was particularly successful? or how did I innovate this month and what do I want to show others? And sharing, that principle of sharing, has been of great help to motivate markets and push them to do better. So that's for the way we work. However, when we implemented the tool, we had a firm principle. We want markets to be independent, but we don't want them to be independent and have like very not coherent materials. So we wanted to give them a basis to start from. So this is what we did. We provided them with one email template. So only one, because it has all the blocks in the email that they might ever need. It has all the classical blocks that they might need to build an email. We also provided them with 2 landing page templates. One is for subscription. So we have a header, a description, and a form with all the fields they might want to use. We also have unsubscription page templates that is GDPR compliant, because we know it's a burning topic at the moment, and we did want them to be empowered and conscious about the problem of GDPR. Then we took 3 different use cases that could be useful to markets. To start with, we're talking to newbies, so we had to make it simple. We took those 3 use cases because they're the basics of marketing automation. The first one is a very simple newsletter send. It has 1 step only, but it's just to make sure that they have something that is just ready to use and save them time. The second one is about event invitation. It's a bit more elaborate. We talk about invitation, then reminder, depending on who clicked or who didn't click, and summary of the event when it has passed. So a bit more elaborate, but still very basic marketing automation. The third one is completely automated, and this is what we want our markets to do. The third one is about welcome programs. Traditionally, we know that welcome programs have much higher conversion rate. So this is something that we really wanted to push to the markets as a no-brainer. They just use the template, they build that welcome program, they're done with it, and they have a perfectly fine automated program that works well. Apart from the workflow, we have data import templates. This is a bit more technical, but in the end, the end goal is that they can import their data just however they want, easily. They don't have to think. We also have in these import templates deduplication for company names and addresses, because this is public data and we want to be able to keep it over the long run. So we don't fear GDPR with that, but at least we are set to keep the data that we own. So this is how we work. So how we organized and what we provided to the markets for them to do well. Now I want to give you real life examples that newbies can use in marketing automation in order to kickstart campaigns very easily and very simply. First one is France. We are talking about the B2B segment. So we're talking to professionals and in particular to pharmacists. This campaign is simply about generating new leads by providing value. And this is what was important to us, providing value. Central team at Sunstar provides amazing content to promote just the brand and the different products.
We sure do.
And we wanted markets to use those materials and to use them well. So what we did is that we used the how-to guides to generate leads. We just had a very simple landing page, and markets were promoting it 2 different ways. First, with a partner. So they had a blog in a partner email that was pushing to that landing page. Second, with their own database. So leveraging all the pharmacists that they have in their database to just engage them more. So there's one part lead generation, one part engagement. When someone submits the form, they subscribe to a service, and in turn, they receive a transactional message with a link to all the how-to guides that we're promoting. So we're collecting data for the future. We're associating people to a certain topic that they're interested in, and we're providing value. So that use case for me is a no-brainer, very easy to put in place, but works super well. Second use case I want to tell you about. Usually markets are very wary of using ACS to the limits, and they're very wary of starting to use segmentation. So an example that we did with the Netherlands that was extremely effective, yet extremely simple, is sales representative personalization. This is B2B again. So each B2B customer has a sales representative associated to them. So what we do is that in any landing page that goes out for the Netherlands or in Belgium has a sales representative field That is mandatory. So they have to fill it in. We have that data for all our B2B customers. So why not leverage it in order to make the experience for them better? Very simply, in our queries, we just select the sales representative associated to a client and send them a personalized email with that exact sales rep contact details. Well, it's harder to measure because we're talking about calls and email sends out of ACS. We saw that the Netherlands reported that their sales representatives had many more calls and many more contacts. So very simple, very good for newbies, yet
very effective.
Exactly. Third one, we're talking about B2C this time. One other thing, apart from segmentation, that scares markets is long workflows. Mm-hmm. They feel like if they do more than one action, they're going to make a mistake and just ruin everything. So Frontier gave us, they're one of our pilot markets, they take a lot of initiatives, and they gave us like the perfect examples to show market that it's actually easy and you don't risk anything. Mm-hmm. So they did that example, which is interesting because it's long, okay, but also because they're leveraging gamification. So they had an actual strategy behind the campaign, and we like those kind of initiatives because we see that they actually reflected on it. First, they were sending 2 different newsletters, 2 emails, and they were making sure that each of the new subscribers to the newsletter was receiving that email regardless of the time they subscribed. That's already a progress. They did an incremental query, which is already good for newbies. I mean, time for
pretty
them.
Advanced,
Yeah. Time for them to understand that. It's already taking time. Second, gamification. They're sending an email leading to a landing page that we built, which is a quiz. So 6 questions. And depending on which questions you got right, you could be one of the big winner or one of the small winners or just a loser.
We don't say that. Loser.
Loser.
There are no losers.
No losers. In any case, what I love about that workflow as well is that they did a fork and they did 3 different cases with 3 different scenarios. Love it. It's great. And it shows that if you motivate people, they can do longer and more complex stuff. Final example that I have for you today is Spain with the B2C segment once again. That's the automated welcome program I was talking to you about earlier. What I want to show you here is not that much the mechanism because it's a classic one. You sign up to a program, you receive a couple of emails with a bit of delay between them with information about the brand or the product. Okay, that's good. What I want to show you is what is on the right hand at the bottom. It might seem like super complicated and I don't need you to read that right now. But this is actually material that we provided to the markets just to guide them and make them understand the logic of how that workflow was working. My point here is that if you want to motivate markets to take initiatives and to do stuff, you need to guide them properly. So we make sure that every time that we offer an initiative, we offer them also the guidelines that they need to realize it.
Absolutely.
Over to you, Kelly. Tell them what's next.
Yeah, exciting things. So thanks, Aliénor. And I think the recap and the learning from this is if your organization is new to Adobe Campaign, you can start with some really powerful but simple steps to get started. One, really take them by the hand, create templates, services, workflows that can be reused across regions or markets, depending on how you're starting. Also spend the time with them. We do a lot of coaching. Aliénor spends a lot of time, 3 days a week, coaching, really being there for the markets to answer questions. And this really launched the market from June until December to reach that 60,000. Yeah. Our milestone was 50,000. So we overachieved and we're quite proud of it. The markets themselves are really excited. And the sharing, encouraging the sharing and the learning is really important as well. What's next for Sunstar? It might be what's next for a lot of organizations. It's really enjoying and celebrating that path to success. For us, our transformation has taken place over many years, and along the way, we've been acquiring new capabilities and enabling markets. So we went from planning to assembling to launching to learning to adopting last year, and this year, we're ready to run. So with Adobe Campaign, we're really excited. That's kind of our hero solution right now. And our other heroes are our markets and our marketers across Europe who allowed us to showcase what they're doing and all this great work, as well as the excellent collaboration with Aliénor, with Dentsu. We've had a lot of fun, and I hope as an organization and as a brand that you have as much fun as we have working together, because I think every partner and client should have that much fun.
Yes.
Because we're all about the fun and the learning. So thanks for joining our session.
Thank you.
We're around. If you have any questions, let us know. We would love to connect on LinkedIn.
For sure.
And text us.
Thank you,
Thank
guys.
you.
Bye-bye.